today we're going to be looking at my Jeep from a slightly different angle, and we're going to be talking about its posterior, its rear end, the derriere, the badonkadonk, its really big butt, and the really big butt that is hard to see out of. And fortunately, FCA and all their general wisdom has included a really nice wide angle backup camera right here. Well, it was federally mandated, but we'll give it to them. But there's one big problem with it, and that's at night. And that's what we're going to be doing, is talking about my next upgrade. And those keen-eyed of you will already see it, and it's this right here. Let's go ahead and go down and take a closer look at it. Now, this is my solution, and apparently it's a solution for a lot of people out there. If he's on the JL Wrangler forums, there's at least 36 pages in a single thread about backup lights. So everybody almost agrees that this thing is completely and totally inadequate, and that's why I decided to augment my backup lights with these guys. Now, it does look expensive, but honestly, the whole setup was probably about an hour of work and about $40 to $50 worth of supplies. And there's a couple of different ways of doing this. You can either tie the power of these backup lights into the reverse light of the signals, or you can tie into the trailer hitch down here. If you have it, there is a orange and white wire that is the positive for the backup lights, or you can go into the factory switch box if you have that option. Now, the option I decided to take was to go off of the factory plug, and thankfully I got the trailer hitch, but I decided not to tie into that factory wire, the orange and the white cable. What I decided to do is actually buy a little 7-pin hitch and hook it into both my lights into this hitch. That way, if I ever get a trailer, I can always just unplug this hitch, zip tie it up here, and that way I can power the trailer without, well, blasting it with light every time I'm backing up. And it just simply goes into the socket. And now, whenever I go into reverse, these guys power on. So let me go ahead and take you to the workbench and show you a little bit more about these individual lights.
Let's go ahead and cover the important grocery list. First, we need to get the light bar. They can range between $20 to $200. I highly suggest a single row low profile just so you can get a little bit more clearance. Next is the wiring. 14 AUG, about 10 feet to wire electrical will do, and you can either scavenge that around the house or it'll be about $10 to $15. And finally, the 7-pin trailer wiring harness, and that'll just be about $5.
Alright, and welcome to my workbench, and here is my solution. These are just single row 6 LED light bars, and they don't draw much wattage and amps, so it should be fine. And let's go ahead and cover what comes in this pack. This is a $20 kit that you can get on Amazon, and at first glance they're pretty good quality. They're metal housing and they seem pretty good, but once you start to look closely, you can see like the sealant here is kind of getting extruded out the side, and then the paint didn't get all the way in there, and even in here you can see that it's not the best quality, but it should work fine for what the intent that we have, which is just to augment our reverse lights. And let's go ahead and talk about how do we connect that to the reverse lights, and this is the solution right here for me. Now, if you have if you tow a lot, or if you have the tow kit, you might be familiar with this. This is a 7-pin connector that connects right into your trailer hitch, and you can and 2 of these pins actually work for the brake lights. So you just connect this to this for the brake lights and you're good. I also got a little extra cable here, just so, because this is just not enough cable. This is just really short, so this is to extend that. And let's go ahead and show you a little bit more what's in the box. We have option higher mount versus lower mount. I'm definitely going to be using the lower mounts on the back bumper, and some just generic bolts and stuff. So pretty decent kit for 20 bucks, and we'll see how it goes.
Before we wire everything up, let's go ahead and test it just to make sure that the 7-pin hitch can power these things. definitely going to have to send an apology letter to my neighbors. Yeesh. These things were a little bit more powerful than I thought, but I think they're going to do it just nicely.
Now this 7-pin socket was only about $5 on Amazon, and it should be everything that you need. And it connects right into, if you have the trailer package, it will connect right into there and provide ample power for these bad boys right here. Let me go ahead and show you how to get into it, at least this one. We got this little screw right here that locks everything in. Screw it out. You don't have to screw it out all the way, but basically what we're doing is clearing this slot right here. And then I can get my screwdriver in there and start easing this socket out. There we go. And you throw it across the bench. But right here, this is the important part right here. And this is where you wire everything up. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the diagram, but you don't really need to know much other than two cables right here, which is this guy right here, which is going to be, this middle one is going to be for your reverse positive. And then you're going to have different colors on each one of these. You can see there's colors listed on here. So this is black, green, red, white, blue, and brown. You can see I've already backed this guy out. So this is the white, and this is the one I'm going to want. And basically the red will go into the middle, and the black ground will go on to the white. And make sure that these LEDs aren't like normal light bulbs. Light bulbs, it doesn't really matter which one is which, ground or positive. It's, you know, it's going to light up. These are polarized, so it really, if you have this reversed, you could blow them. You don't want that. So make sure you got the positive, the red cable going into the middle, the black ground going into the white, which is the ground, and you're good to go. And I'm going to go ahead and get this divided in two, and then get everything wired up, and we'll be good to go. I went ahead and stripped my wire. This is just standard 14 AUG. About 10 feet of it should be plenty enough. Cut it in half, so I've got two 5-foot cords of it. And I'm going to go ahead and splice the two together, and just want to make sure that you don't use these little wing nuts. These are not going to work for the intended purposes, which is outdoor, because there's going to be mud, there's going to be wind and rain and all sorts of stuff. This will not keep the water out at all, and it could vibrate off, so you do not want to use this. I'm going to be using basically these crimp ends here and a crimper, crimped it together, and we should be good to go. Also, I'm going to shrink wrap it, so make sure if you're going to be using shrink wrap, get it on before you do all your wiring, or else you're going to be in trouble trying to do it afterwards. Slide that up, and then once we're done making the connections, we can go ahead and slide that back over and shrink wrap everything together, make it nice and tidy. And let's go ahead and do this. Alright, got these guys all wired up, shrink wrapped, and then wrapped in electrical tape just to double check, make sure, and ready to go for the install. And I've got the lights, about 5 feet of cord, and I'll wire this guy up once I wire up the Jeep, and that will be tonight because I want to make sure to get the nice aim of lights before putting it all on.
Aiming the lights is easy and self-explanatory, and what you're going to want is a nice even pattern without blinding other drivers. Be sure to do this with assistance though, since working behind the vehicle with it in reverse and relying on the parking brake is not a smart idea, so having somebody in the driver's seat is a lot safer. Now for mounting, you're going to want to be super cautious of wires running through your bumper, from this proximity sensor to the license plate lights. I checked in the bumper and luckily none of the wires ran across the top of the bumper, so manning up there is not going to be a problem. I found the plastic bumper on the Jeep to be super weak, and the screws just pulled the plastic through, so they wouldn't really have a good perch on the bumper. So a good solution that I found is buying these expansion screws that'll expand underneath the bumper and create a much more secure footing. For the cable routing, you can go just between the bumper and the body and push it down. With the cable tucked behind the bumper, it was just a little too close to the hot exhaust for my comfort, so I routed it back up and around the metal frame that's under the bumper. Once the cables were properly routed, it's time to wire everything up to the 7-pin hitch connector and plug it all in. After using some zip ties to wrangle some slack cable, all that's left is testing. As you're watching me test my new backup lights, I just wanted to say thank you all for the great feedback and support during these difficult times. It's great to have a little project like this to keep you busy during the downtimes, and I can't think of a better way of spending a couple of hours than working on your Jeep and sharing it with everybody. If you like this content, please support me with a thumbs up, a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. The next one's going to be how to quiet your hardtop for free. So if you have a Jeep with a hardtop, subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when it's up. With that said, stay safe, and when the trails are open again, keep the shiny side up, and I'll see you on the trails.